I am feeling the feels this week. I am definitely feeling the feels. And this episode is a little different. I'm actually not recording the video portion this week because I want to share something new with you and also let you know why I am in my feelings today and have been for the last couple days. So, look, it's the week of Valentine's Day, right? And I am actually recording this for you on Valentine's Day. That is my evening, and I am happy to be here with you doing this because what the topic we're talking about is being in that space of loving awareness. Now, what does that mean? We are about to find out during this episode, which actually are sections from my new series that I just dropped on YouTube at Hilary Russo on YouTube called Self-Care Sunday. It's going to be every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. You can join me live for these YouTube series where we will tackle a new theme every week. And you have a chance to ask questions, join me in the chat, and just connect with me. But the whole point of this episode is that I want you to get a feel for a topic that is really close to my heart, which is finding the space for that loving awareness. Oh, I just love saying that, loving awareness. And look, I'm sitting here in my PJs right now. I'm going to be completely honest and transparent with you. I've been going through a range of emotions myself over the last week because of certain things that have developed in my own life. And I thought I would use this to my best abilities and to be absolutely free to just be. And that's really what it's about. That's really where I want to go with you this week, because how often do you really give yourself time? How often do you sit down and give yourself the space for self-care? Sit there with that thought for a moment, because it's likely it's not enough. I'll do it later. That's great, but tomorrow's never promised, right? And while time continues to go on, it is never promised to you or to me. So that is the one reason why I created this Self-Care Sunday series, to get you in that place to allow yourself to be. And I can't think of a better topic to start with. Love, right? Self-care means self-love. So we're going there in this week, this inaugural episode of the Self-Care Sunday series, and I wanted to give you a little taste of what that's about. So during this week, we talk about that idea of what loving awareness is, the importance of self-love, the real need to give to yourself first before you can show up for others, how disappointing others can be even worse than disappointing yourself, and that one mistake that you could be making that could actually be more of a disservice to others, even if your intentions are good. I'm even going to share with you a challenge every week on this Self-Care Sunday series that I want you to try. So when we meet the next Sunday, you're ready to go. You can share. You can be part of the process. And the other thing that I'm going to share with you during these Self-Care Sundays is a chance to self-regulate. We're going to do a little self-havening experience every week. So you get the theme, you get the topic, we talk things out, I share with you from the week prior and looking forward to the week ahead and how you can put that challenge into action. And then I leave you with some self-havening. So you can be kind to your mind, you can be present, and you can self-regulate a little bit, because we all need more of that. And so that's kind of where we're going this week on Holistically Speaking, is finding that space for loving awareness. I really hope you enjoy. It's a short episode, but it's packed full of goodness and love and loving awareness that it can really help you start your day and your new week. Enjoy. Sometimes when we think about love or self-love, the word self can also be seen as a negative, that negative thought of selfish, right? But there's nothing wrong with being selfish if the outcome of that selfishness is that you can provide more of a space for self-love for yourself first, and then obviously for others. And one thing I did this morning before we met, I got up pretty early this morning. I was up at about 5 a.m. and I was doing my morning meditation. And the one that resonated with me, of course, is the beautiful spiritual leader Ram Dass and his loving awareness meditation, which is just a 10-minute mantra, repetitive nature of I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. And it always puts me in the most beautiful state because the thought behind that is that it isn't just the self love, but once that is deep in your core, once you understand and have a depth and a deep understanding of what it means to love yourself, then everything else around you truly is love, right? Whatever it is, you have such a beautiful feeling and connection with all that's around you, with nature, with life in general, and you just see things through different eyes. And it can really be a beautiful shift in your life when you realize that you are loving awareness. I am loving awareness. And I just absolutely connect with that quote so deeply, especially this week as we're moving into now a new week, which lots of flowers, lots of candy, lots of love, lots of true the day that everyone circulates around, that the Valentine's Day uh, can be also overwhelming because really, does it need to just be one day? Isn't this something that we should be sharing every day? That true self love, being able to give a piece of yourself so beautifully and organically and authentically to others can truly, truly have a greater impact than just one day. And it's just something to think about as you're going forward. But if it's also something that you struggle with, if you have had difficulty with loving yourself, it's a moment to step back and ask yourself why. And that's something I actually asked this week with my Hug It Out Challenge participants. I asked them, what is one thing about yourself that you love? And that could be a very difficult question to answer when you have to go within and actually put yourself first. And some people are like, well, that's conceited, or I shouldn't be talking about myself that way. But that it's absolutely the opposite. Because if you understand your loving awareness, if you understand what you have and you want to give it to this world and others around you that you care about, that amplifies once you truly believe it yourself. And I imagine there is one thing about you that you like. And it doesn't have to be anything huge. It could be your laugh, it could be your eyes, it could be that you're witty or quirky. People laugh when you sing. You're caring, you're nurturing, you're giving. I mean, these are all beautiful qualities to have. Maybe you just have a talent that you truly admire about yourself. Love that about you. Start there, start somewhere that can create the space for that loving awareness, that loving awareness, that loving awareness. Because once you start there, you really have a path to go anywhere, right? And so I want you to think about that and something else as we move forward a little bit. Remember, it's not selfish. It is self-care. It is self-love, and it's necessary. And as I was diving deep this morning into my meditation, of course, I'm always coming across more work that I love that is shared by Dr. Wayne Dyer, who probably was one of the greatest spiritual leaders of all time, I think. And he's greatly missed on this planet, but he's all around us spiritually. And he says, if you're able to love others, to give to others, and do for others, you're doing it by giving and doing it for yourself first. And isn't that what we all want? We want to show up in this world for ourselves, but the biggest disappointment is when we feel we can't show up for others. And a lot of times when that happens, even with people we love, we tend to shut them out. We think we can't provide enough for them. We can't be there enough for them. And if you're surrounded by people that make a difference in your life, that you care about and love and know that they love you back, let them in. Let them be part of your experience, the ups and downs, because they're truly showing that they want to be there. And it's not hard to go to that place. It's actually easier. Our mind wants to go to that fight or flight. Our amygdala wants to protect us, as we call her Amy. Amy wants to protect you from that saber-toothed tiger, being in danger. If I love too much, I'll get hurt. if I hurt somebody else, it's on me. And now I feel the guilt. And now I feel like I didn't show up authentically in this world. And that's beautiful that you want to. But to remove yourself from that kind of loving awareness is only being a disservice to yourself and those who care about you. So create that space for love. Realize that the people that love you are going to be there during your ups and downs. And try to let go of some of that pressure if you can, because there's nothing like having a good group of people around you that know where you come from, that know what you stand for. And they're going to be there for you because they see the authenticity of who you are. And the other thing around that is that, that also creates a space for opening your heart more. Maybe you've been hurt. I get it. I have too. Maybe you have dealt with things where you have felt like if I open up too much, I feel vulnerable. But the beauty of vulnerability is when those breakups happen, they lead to breakthroughs. When we are vulnerable and allow ourselves, when we allow ourselves, that second step after awareness, to truly feel and allow someone else to be in our space, that's the most beautiful place you can possibly be. And when you're at peace with yourself and you love yourself, it's virtually impossible to do things to yourself that are destructive. That's also something I learned from Dr. Dyer. So all I can say is that in this time, as we are moving out of a week that is really beginning that period of like the love month, the heart month. It's heart month here in the States. America calls it National Heart Month, but really isn't it heart month every month? Not just taking care of your own personal health. And that's another thing, like people, it's very common to shut people out when you're feeling like you're not well. I don't want to put a burden on somebody else. But again, this goes back to the people who love you are going to want to be there for you no matter what. And if you're feeling not yourself, whether it is physically or mentally, allow people to show up for you. Allow yourself to be carried. And if you're not used to that, be comfortable in the uncomfortable, And there are a number of decisions you can make when this happens. You have a number of choices when you're standing in that tension. When you're standing in that overwhelm, that wave, whelm means wave, that you can retreat, stay safe, make no changes, go back on the beach, go to safety. But nothing changes if nothing changes. And then you have the option of trying to go over that wave, right? But that tends to not turn out too well, right? To go over the wave is likely going to push you back, and it's dangerous. It's hard to get over something like that. You can just stand there and likely get hit by the wave, maybe hurt, maybe you'll make it through, or you can dive right through it. Because likely on the other side of that wave, that whelm, that overwhelm, are calm waters. That's finding the calm in the chaos, is taking the chance, is taking a moment to be brave and realize that people will show up for you, but you have to be willing to show up for yourself, right? So I want you to think about kind of a challenge. What we're going to do, we're going to have a theme every week, but then also a challenge. I want you to think of think of something new about yourself, or maybe one task, one thing that you are going to do differently in this week ahead that has to do with self-love. What are you going to do for you for self-care in the next week? Be your own love, and because it starts here, right? And remember that when you have more of that loving awareness, you have more to share. And that's really what we're all here for, right? We're all just walking each other home. So make that your task for the new week. Give yourself that space for self-care. And I wish you well in the new week. Namaste. And much love to you. Be well. So what do you think? You going to join me Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on my YouTube Live. I want to see you there. I want to know that you're ready and you're willing to give yourself that time for self-care every week. You deserve it. I deserve it. And I'd love to share that space with you. Head on over to YouTube, subscribe to Hilary Russo so you never miss a week. Of course, you never miss any of my other content that I release there as well. So make it a point to subscribe. And while you're at it, I do hope you're subscribed right here on Hilistically Speaking, wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. Make it a habit of putting this into your weekly calendar to give yourself that time for self-care. That's where we go every week. Self-empowerment, self-improvement, self-care, self-love, self-regulation. It's all good. It's all good stuff. So make sure you connect with me on Hilary Russo as well, and across the board on all social media at Hilary Russo. I am here for you. I love connecting with you. What questions do you ask? What do you want to hear about? What do you want to discuss on this podcast? Who do you want to join me when we have the guests come on here? Because these conversations are really enjoyable and they're getting better. Oh, we've got some good stuff coming up. And some of it is because you've suggested these guests to me. So keep them coming. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for giving me your time, for sharing this space with me, for coming back week after week, for being accountable. Because I know what you're doing. I know this feels good for you. And in return, I feel it. I feel it through these headphones. I feel it through this microphone. I know you're out there and I know you're listening, and I could not be more appreciative. So on that note, remember to come from a space of loving awareness and be kind to your mind. And I will see you on Sunday. Be well.